Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. It is Tuesday, March 13th. My name is Sandra Ennis. I am a realtor with RE/MAX Little Oak in Fort Langley. So thank you for joining me today. I'm at the office a fair bit at our RE/MAX office in Fort Langley, and one of the questions that we get quite regularly when people stop in to the office to say hi, the question always is, what's for sale in the fort? So today I thought I'd give you a bit of an overview as far as what is currently for sale in the fort and a couple of the sales that have happened recently to give you a little bit of an idea of what's going on in my community of Fort Langley. I'm fortunate enough to live here myself as well, so it's definitely my community. So let's start with condos and townhomes. As far as condos that are currently listed in Fort Langley, there are two in a building called Heritage Manor, which is right on Glover Road. There are two one-bedroom units for sale in there, and they are both listed at $498,000. And that's it for active condo listings in Fort Langley. Many of you may be aware of the Bedford Landing area of Fort Langley, which has three different condo buildings along there, and there's not an active listing to be had in there right now, so lots of demand. As far as townhomes or row homes, there are a couple active listings in Bedford Landing. The difference, the row homes are similar in many ways to a townhouse in that they are attached. You have shared walls with your neighbors. In Bedford Landing, they are done in groups of four, with the exception, there's one exception, it's a group of five, but otherwise they are in groups of four. So you have shared walls, but there's no monthly strata, so it's a little bit different from a townhome in that regard. And there is a row home currently for sale, currently active in Bedford Landing. They're about 2,100 square feet. They're really nice units. So that one, there is one active in there, and it is listed at $939,000. And then there is a townhome for sale in the Flatiron complex, which is also on Billy Brown Road. And if you've been in the area, you may have seen them. And they are live-work townhomes. So some of the owners there on the street front, there are street front businesses. So there's a florist and there's some art galleries, and so you have the option of having the business in your home and then live upstairs, or don't. You can use the whole thing for yourself, but there's one listed in there, and that one is at $859,900. It's a two-bedroom townhome. So what's sold recently? Well, not much actually. For condos and townhomes, I have to go back to the end of January. There was a condo for sale in Bedford Landing. So in one of the condos that I referred to in one of those three buildings, it was on the Billy Brown Road side, two-bedroom unit. It was listed for $599,900, so basically $600,000, and it sold in 2 days. So lots of interest in condos and very little for sale. So that's the condos and townhomes. Now let's get into the single family homes. So I'm kind of dividing these into three groups. We'll talk about ones that are listed under 1.5 million, then in the 1.5 to 2 million range, and finally in the above 2 million range. So under 1.5 million in Fort Langley, there are 5 active listings right now. There is one in Bedford Landing, so a single family home in Bedford Landing that is currently listed. There are 3 single family homes on the west side of Glover in Fort Langley, and there is one on the east side of Glover. So Bedford Landing, those lot sizes are smaller than in the other part of Fort Langley. The 4 that are listed in Fort Langley proper, if you will, kind of the main part of Fort Langley, they're essentially on a 1/4 acre lot. So a 1/4 acre being 11,000 square feet. These ones are about that lot size. One of them is a little bit bigger, but in that neck of the woods, in approximately that range. So there are 4 of them that are listed under the 1.5. When we get into the between the 1.5 and the 2 million, there's actually a parcel of land just on the outskirts of Fort Langley, 2.5 acres, that's currently listed under the 2 million. And then there are 2 homes in Fort Langley. They're both on the west side of Glover that are, they're actually in about around the 1.9. They are a bit larger, so larger properties, a little bit bigger than a 1/4 acre, and they have good size, lovely homes on them. So there are a couple homes actively listed in that price range. And then when we get into the over 2 million range, you tend to get into new construction in Fort Langley. So what has been happening in the area, if you're unaware, is some of the homes that are on, say, the 1/4 acre lots that have been sold recently, and the home, you know, may have been a very small home, an old home in need of major renovations. Some of those homes are coming down, and big, beautiful new homes are being built on those lots because they are such lovely large lots. Homes in the range of about 5,000 square feet. So like I said, big, beautiful homes, and they are typically selling in the 2.3, 2.4 kind of range. So there are a couple in Fort Langley that are active right now. And then other homes in the area that are listed over 2 million. There's one in an area called Castle Hill, which is just a little bit east of Fort Langley as you head up towards 232nd. It's an area of lovely luxury executive homes, and there's one for sale in there over the 2 million. There's another one in an area called Topham Estates, which is if you head west up the hill from Fort Langley towards Walnut Grove, just kind of as you get to the top of the hill, off to the side, there is acreages, small acreages in there with homes. Again, there's a lot of new homes that are being built in there as well. There's one active listing in there. And then there's a really beautiful property just east of Glover in Fort Langley. It's got some acreage. It's got a beautiful view over the valley with a really nice home. And it is currently active and listed actually well above 2 million. So that's kind of a special home. And that's essentially it for Fort Langley. So you know you're in a pretty tight, desirable community when I can pretty much just tell you everything that's for sale in a matter of a few minutes. As far as what's sold recently, say, you know, either just recently or in the month of February, there was a rancher that was listed at essentially 1.9 just east of Glover, and that one just sold. There was a home in Forest Knolls, which is actually up near the Castle Hill area that I was talking about. That was a home on a 3/4 of an acre lot that was listed at 1.4, and that one has sold. There was a home in Bedford Landing, so one of the single family homes in Bedford Landing. It was listed at just under 1.4 as well, 1,388. And it sold in 5 days, so pretty desirable. And one of the new construction homes, the 5,000 square foot home, approximately over 2 million, that one sold as well. So those are the sales in Fort Langley. So again, highly desirable area. I live in Fort Langley. I'm very familiar with the area. So if you are looking for something in Fort Langley, it's really good to be working with a realtor because we tend to find out, you know, pretty quick as far as what is getting listed. And also, if you live in Fort Langley and are thinking of selling, as you can see, it's definitely a seller's market, and would be happy to give you an evaluation of your home. Just taking one more step back, kind of a more broad step back, Fraser Valley statistics. I did post this morning on my Facebook page my monthly newsletter. It's also available on my website, sandraennis.com. You go to the resources tab and then find newsletters, and my past newsletters are listed there. And I always include the most recent Fraser Valley real estate stats. And so that's for all of the Fraser Valley. And what stands out to me from the February stats that were released at the beginning of March is that the active listings at the end of February for the Fraser Valley, so that includes condos, townhomes, and single family homes, there were 4,300 active listings for all of the Fraser Valley, which may sound like a lot, but the 10-year average for the end of February is more like 7,300 active listings. So we are short by about 3,000 listings when you compare it to the average. So seller's market, there's lots of variety, you know, different areas, different homes, you know, not everything is moving exactly the same way, but overall we are low on inventory, and it's a great time to make a move if it's something that you are thinking about. So that's pretty much my update for you. Actually, one thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about Fort Langley is Lily Terrace, which is a new development of beautiful high-end condos. I had the opportunity to meet with the the salespeople in the presentation center on the weekend. Those condos are now being sold. Incredible finishings. They'll be complete in a little over a year. So if a high-end condo is something that you're interested in Fort Langley, let me know and I can share some information about Lily Terrace with you as well. So that's my update for the Fort Langley market. I really appreciate you tuning in. Questions about Fort Langley or anywhere in the Fraser Valley. I've lived here for 25 years, and before that I grew up in Vancouver. So this part of the province has been my home forever, and I love it, and I would love to help you if you are thinking of making a move. So thanks for joining me, everybody. Have a great rest of the afternoon. Bye.